Rancher found Apache woman tied up in front of his ranch. Then she said to get her pregnant there. It was a quiet morning on the ranch. The sun had just started to rise over the hills, casting long golden shadows across the fields. Birds were singing softly, and the wind carried the faint scent of wildflowers mixed with the earthy smell of the land. The rancher, a man named Daniel, was already up, walking slowly along the fence line. He had lived on this ranch all his life, tending to the land and animals, and the routine of the morning was something he cherished. As he approached the main gate, something unusual caught his eye. At first, he thought it was a bundle of cloth caught on the fence, but as he got closer, he realized it was a person, a woman, sitting quietly on the ground near the entrance. She looked exhausted, dusty, and very confused. Round. In desperate, Daniel's heart skipped a beat. It was not common to see anyone near the ranch at this early hour, and certainly not someone who appeared to be in trouble. "Are you okay?" Daniel asked, keeping his voice calm. He didn't want to scare her. The woman looked up slowly. Her dark hair was tangled, and her clothes were dusty from what seemed like a long journey. Her eyes were wide and alert, but there was also a glimmer of fear in them. She did not answer immediately. She seemed unsure whether to trust him, and Daniel understood.
He had always been taught to respect people's space, but he also knew she might need help.
"Don't worry," he said gently. "You're safe here. I run this ranch, and I can help you. What's your name?" She hesitated, then spoke softly. "My name is Kaya." Her voice was quiet but firm, with a hint of weariness that suggested she had been through a lot.
Daniel nodded. "Kaya, you look like you've had a rough time. Come inside, get some water, and we'll figure things out." Brushing off the dust from her clothes.
She didn't say much, but she allowed Daniel to guide her toward the ranch house. As they walked, Daniel noticed that she moved carefully, as if she was wary of her surroundings. The ranch was far from the nearest town, surrounded by open fields and a dense forest. He realized that anyone traveling alone through this area would have a difficult time. Once inside the house, Daniel offered her a chair by the window and brought a glass of water. Kaya took it with trembling hands, and for a moment she just stared out the window at the rolling hills. Daniel watched her quietly, giving her time to feel safe. "You don't have to tell me everything right away," he said finally. "But if you want, you can tell me what happened. Maybe I can help." Kaya took a deep breath and then began, her voice still soft but gaining strength as she spoke. "I've been traveling for a long time. I come from a small village, and I was trying to get to a nearby town for work and..." Breaths, safety. She paused, looking down at her hands. "I lost my way in the forest and I didn't know where to go. I thought I would never find anyone." Daniel listened carefully. He had seen many travelers struggle in the wild, especially those unfamiliar with the land.
"You're lucky you found the ranch," he said kindly.
"It's not far from the main road, but it's easy to get lost out there. You must be exhausted."
"I am," Kaya admitted.
"I don't even remember the last time I had a proper meal or slept in a safe place." Daniel nodded. "Well, you're safe now. You can rest here as long as you need. We have plenty of food and a warm bed." "You don't have to worry about anything. Widen eyes." Kaya looked up at him, her eyes showing a mixture of gratitude and hesitation.
"Thank you. I didn't know anyone would help me," she said quietly.
Daniel smiled reassuringly. "Most people will. Sometimes it just takes finding the right place." After a while, Kaya started to feel a little more comfortable. She told Daniel about the long journey she had undertaken, the challenges of traveling through forests and hills, and how she had struggled to find shelter. Her story was full of small, vivid details that made Daniel realize how brave she had been to make it this far on her own.
As the morning passed, the ranch slowly came to life.
Daniel's animals stirred in the fields, and he tended to their needs while keeping an eye on Kaya. She wandered through the house, looking curiously at the old furniture and photographs on the walls. It was clear she had not seen much of the world beyond her village, and everything fascinated her. The wide open spaces, the smell of the grass, and the quiet, peaceful life of the ranch. By midday, Kaya was feeling stronger. She had eaten a simple meal of bread, cheese, and fruit, and she looked less exhausted than she had that morning. She even managed a small smile as she helped Daniel gather some eggs from the chicken coop. "You know, you're a natural with animals," Daniel said, handing her the basket. "I've been taking care of them for years, but it's nice to see someone who cares."
"I grew up around animals too," she admitted. "Not like this, but I understand them."
They can sense who's kind. As the day went on, Daniel and Kaya talked more. She told him about her village, the traditions she grew up with, and the hopes she had for her future. Daniel shared stories of his life on the ranch, the challenges he had faced, and the quiet joys of living close to nature. The more they spoke, the more they realized they had a shared respect for hard work, simplicity, and honesty. By evening, the sky had turned a deep shade of orange, and the fields were bathed in soft twilight. Kaya stood by the porch looking out at the hills, feeling a sense of calm she hadn't felt in a long time. Daniel joined her, handing her a cup of tea.
"You'll be safe here," he said quietly.
"No one will bother you. You can rest, and tomorrow we can plan your next steps." Kaya nodded, feeling a warmth in her chest. For the first time in weeks, maybe months, she felt like she had a place where she belonged, at least for now. As night fell, the ranch was peaceful. The sounds of the animals settling down, the wind rustling through the trees, and the distant calls of owls created a soothing rhythm.
Kaya went to bed with a sense of relief and a little spark of hope.
She didn't know what the future held, but for the first time she felt that maybe things could be okay. Daniel checked on her before going to his own room. He couldn't explain why, but he felt a connection to the stranger who had appeared on his land so suddenly. Something about her bravery, her honesty, and the way she had endured so much spoke to him. He knew that this encounter would change both of their lives, though neither of them could guess how. Outside, the stars twinkled in the clear sky. The ranch was quiet, safe, and full of possibilities. And for Daniel and Kaya, this was just the beginning of a story that neither of them had expected, but one that might bring unexpected friendship, trust, and a bond that neither had known they needed. The morning sun rose slowly over the ranch, painting the wide fields in soft shades of gold and green. Kaya woke to the faint sounds of chickens clucking in the yard and the distant lowing of cattle. For the first time in a long time, she felt well-rested and surprisingly calm. The previous day had been overwhelming, but here, at the ranch, everything seemed steady, predictable, and safe. It was a strange feeling for her, and she savored it quietly. She got dressed in simple clothes Daniel had lent her. Comfortable enough for work, but clean and practical. As she stepped outside, she noticed Daniel already moving about the ranch. He was checking the fences, feeding some of the animals, and adjusting water troughs. His movements were calm and precise, as if he had been doing this exact routine for years. Watching him, Kaya realized that running a ranch was harder than she had imagined, but Daniel made it seem effortless. "Good morning, Kaya," Daniel called, looking up with a smile as he noticed her standing by the porch. "Sleep well?" "Yes," she replied, smiling back.
For the first time in a long time, I really did.
That's good to hear. We have a busy day ahead, so let's get started.
The scent of hay and animals filled the air. She was given a task to help Daniel with the feeding schedule. At first, it felt awkward to work so closely with someone she barely knew, but as the morning progressed, the tasks became familiar. She found herself enjoying the rhythm of feeding the animals, brushing their coats, and organizing the tools. Daniel occasionally gave her pointers, but he let her work at her own pace. "You're a quick learner," he remarked as Kaya carefully measured feed for the goats.
Most people take longer to get used to it.
Kaya blushed slightly. I guess I just needed a reason to focus, she said quietly.
Daniel didn't press her for more explanation, sensing that she would share when ready. Instead, he continued his work, occasionally offering small tips or words of encouragement. There was a quiet understanding growing between them, a shared respect that didn't need words. By late morning, the sun was high and the work on the ranch continued. Kaya had begun to notice small details about the land. The way the wind shifted across the fields, the sound of the creek nearby, and the birds that nested in the old oak trees. Each observation made her feel more connected to this place. She realized that there was something grounding about the routine and the simplicity of ranch life. During a break, Daniel brought out a small lunch: fresh bread, cheese, and some fruit from the garden. They sat on the porch together, looking out over the fields. Kaya felt more comfortable speaking now.
"This land is beautiful," she said. "I've never seen anything like it."
"It's not just the land, it's what you do with it. You take care of it, and in return, it takes care of you." She had always lived in small villages, where land was scarce and people struggled. Here, there was space and life in abundance. It made her realize how much she had been missing out on, not just in terms of nature, but in feeling safe and valued.
After lunch, Daniel suggested they take a walk through the surrounding fields and the edge of the forest.
Kaya agreed, curious to see more of the land and to stretch her legs. As they walked, the forest loomed ahead, tall trees creating a canopy that filtered the sunlight into dappled patterns on the ground. Birds chirped overhead, and the occasional rustle of small animals could be heard in the underbrush.
It's peaceful here, Kaya said, taking a deep breath.
"I can't remember the last time I felt this calm." "Peace comes when you know you're safe," Daniel replied, "and I'm glad you're feeling that way." As they walked further, they came across a small creek. The water was clear and cool, trickling over smooth rocks. Kaya knelt by the edge and dipped her hand in, enjoying the refreshing feeling. Daniel watched quietly, sensing that this moment was important for her. "You know," he said, "life on the ranch isn't always easy. There are challenges every day, from the weather to the animals to unexpected problems. But it's worth it because you get to be part of something real. Something that matters."
Kaya nodded slowly.
"I think I understand that now. I've spent so much time running and worrying, I never had a chance to be part of something steady. Breath. Something that I could trust." Daniel smiled.
And maybe this is a good place to start.
As they returned to the ranch house, Kaya felt a sense of belonging she hadn't felt in years. She realized that trust wasn't something you demanded. It was something that grew slowly, built from small moments and shared experiences.
And for the first time, she felt ready to allow herself to trust someone again. Back at the house, Daniel suggested they work on organizing the storage room where tools, seeds, and supplies were kept. It was dusty and cluttered, but Kaya found satisfaction in making order from chaos. As they worked side by side, they shared stories of their pasts. Breaths. Daniel talked about growing up on the ranch, learning from his father and the pride he felt in maintaining the land. Kaya shared memories of her village, her family, and the journey that had brought her here. Through these conversations, they began to understand each other better. Daniel admired Kaya's resilience and courage, while Kaya respected Daniel's wisdom and patience. There was a quiet bond forming, one built on mutual respect and understanding rather than words alone. As evening approached, the sky turned brilliant shades of orange and pink. Daniel suggested they take a short ride on the ranch's old horse-drawn cart to enjoy the view. Kaya hesitated at first, having never ridden a horse, but Daniel reassured her, helping her carefully onto the seat. As the cart moved slowly along the path, Kaya felt a thrill of excitement mixed with a sense of peace. The wind brushed against her face, and she looked around at the vast fields and distant hills, feeling a sense of freedom she had never known. Narration. "This is amazing," she said softly. "I never imagined life could feel like this." Sometimes the simplest things are the most extraordinary. You just have to be present to notice them. As they returned to the ranch, the night began to settle in. Stars appeared one by one, sparkling in the clear sky. Kaya sat on the porch wrapped in a blanket Daniel had given her and gazed up at the heavens. She felt a sense of gratitude. Gratitude for finding safety, for meeting someone who had shown her kindness, and for the chance to start anew. Daniel joined her, sitting quietly and sipping a cup of warm tea. They didn't speak much. Words weren't necessary. The silence was comfortable, filled with unspoken understanding. Kaya realized that moments like these were rare, and she wanted to remember them. As the night deepened, Daniel showed Kaya her room, a small but cozy space with a bed, a window overlooking the fields, and simple furnishings. Kaya thanked him quietly, feeling a deep sense of comfort. She lay down, thinking about the day and the surprising turn her life had taken. For the first time in months, maybe years, she felt that things could be different, that there was hope, and that she could find a new path. Outside, the ranch was peaceful. The animals were settled, the wind whispered through the trees, and the stars shone brightly overhead. Kaya drifted to sleep with a sense of calm, knowing that she had found a place where she could heal, grow, and perhaps discover more about herself than she ever had before. The next morning, the ranch woke slowly under a soft, pale sunlight. Kaya stretched and stepped outside, feeling the crisp air on her face. The scent of fresh grass and earth filled her lungs, and she felt an unexpected sense of energy. The previous days had been a whirlwind of new experiences, but now she was beginning to feel like she belonged. She glanced at the horizon and saw Daniel already working in the fields, his silhouette moving steadily as he checked the irrigation lines and tended to the crops. "Good morning, Kaya," Daniel called, spotting her from afar. "Great." His voice carried a gentle warmth, and Kaya felt a small smile spread across her face. "Good morning," she replied. "It's beautiful today." "It is," Daniel agreed. "Let's make the most of it." Kaya joined him in the fields, helping to gather vegetables and inspect the crops for pests. At first, the work was tiring, but it was also satisfying. She had never done anything so physical, yet it felt good to contribute, to see the results of her efforts. The sun climbed higher, and she began to understand why Daniel loved this life. The rhythm, the patience, and the tangible rewards made it feel meaningful. As they worked, Kaya noticed a small part of the field where the soil seemed unusually dry. "Daniel," she said, pointing to it, "this part looks like it might need more water." Daniel examined the area closely. "You're right," he said. "I'll check the irrigation system. Thanks for noticing." He smiled at her, and Kaya felt a quiet pride, but she had started to feel useful, and that feeling was empowering.
After a few hours, they took a break under the shade of an old oak tree near the edge of the fields.
Kaya sat on the grass drinking some water and watched Daniel as he checked the tools in his bag. She admired his focus and patience, but also the kindness in his gestures. Even in the small things, offering water, explaining how to check the crops, he showed thoughtfulness that made her feel valued. Daniel, she began, hesitant but curious, how did you learn all of this? Did your family teach you? Yes, he said, sitting beside her. My father ran this ranch before me. I grew up helping him, learning every detail about the land, the animals, and the crops. I suppose it's in my blood. But I also learned a lot from experience. Mistakes teach you things you can't read in any book.
Kaya nodded, thinking about her own life and how little she had learned about independence and responsibility. Growing up in her village, she had always followed rules and routines, but she had never been responsible for anything as big as an entire ranch.
The realization made her both nervous and excited. She wanted to learn, to grow, and perhaps find her own strength along the way. After their break, Daniel suggested they inspect the forest edge where some wild animals had been spotted near the fences. Kaya hesitated slightly, feeling a mixture of curiosity and caution. She had heard stories about wild animals in the area, but had never seen one up close. Daniel noticed her hesitation. Oh, don't worry, he said reassuringly. I'll be with you the whole time.
We'll just look, not approach anything that seems dangerous.
The forest was alive with sounds, the chirping of birds, the rustling of leaves, and the occasional snap of a twig underfoot. As they walked, Daniel pointed out different plants, explaining which ones were useful for food or medicine and which ones were best avoided. Kaya listened intently, fascinated by his knowledge. She realized how connected he was to the land, how he could read its signs and understand its rhythms. Suddenly, they spotted a deer near a small clearing. It froze for a moment, its ears twitching, before bounding away into the trees. Kaya gasped quietly at the sight.
It's beautiful, she whispered.
Daniel agreed. And it reminds us how alive this world is, even in places we think are quiet. They continued walking until they reached a small hill that overlooked the entire ranch. Kaya paused, taking in the view. She could see the field stretching out, the barn and house below, and the forest beyond. The sun was higher now, casting a golden glow over everything. For the first time she felt a deep sense of peace, as if she were exactly where she was meant to be. Daniel, she said softly, I didn't think life could feel like this. It's so different from anything I've known. He looked at her, a thoughtful expression on his face. Life has a way of surprising us, he said. Sometimes the path we take isn't the one we expect, but it can lead to exactly where we need to be. Kaya thought about the journey that had brought her here, the long walks through forests, the nights spent unsure of safety, and the hope that had kept her moving forward. She realized that meeting Daniel and arriving at the ranch was more than luck. It felt like a turning point, a chance to start over and discover a new side of herself. As they descended the hill, Daniel suggested they return to the house for lunch. On the way back, Kaya noticed wildflowers growing along the path. She bent down to pick a small bunch, smiling at their bright colors. Daniel noticed and smiled as well. Those are for your room, he asked. Yes, Kaya said. It will make it feel more like home. Back at the ranch, lunch was simple but satisfying. Kaya enjoyed the fresh flavors and the comfort of sitting in a warm kitchen, sharing a meal with someone she had come to trust. The conversation flowed naturally, moving from stories of the past to hopes for the future. Kaya felt a growing sense of connection, realizing that this was the first time she had felt truly understood in a long while. After lunch, Daniel suggested that Kaya help him with some light repairs around the barn. She agreed, curious to learn more. As they worked together, the tasks seemed less like chores and more like shared accomplishments. Kaya found satisfaction in fixing a loose board and organizing tools, while Daniel offered guidance and encouragement. There was laughter and small moments of pride as they completed each task. By late afternoon, the sun began to lower, casting long shadows across the fields. Kaya took a moment to sit on the porch, feeling the warmth of the sun on her face. The work, the learning, the moments of quiet beauty, and realized that she was starting to feel a sense of belonging. For the first time, she felt like she could contribute, like she mattered, and like she was part of something bigger than herself. Daniel joined her, carrying a small basket of fresh vegetables. He handed it to her with a smile. You did a good job today, he said. I'm glad you're here. Kaya smiled, feeling a warmth in her chest. I'm glad too, she admitted. I didn't expect to find a place like this. As night approached, the ranch settled into its quiet rhythm. The animals rested, the wind whispered through the trees, and the stars began to appear in the clear sky.
Kaya went to her room to rest, but sleep did not come immediately.
She lay in bed, thinking about the day and the unexpected turn her life had taken. She realized that she was not just surviving anymore. She was beginning to thrive, to grow, and to imagine possibilities she had never considered before. Outside, Daniel finished his work for the day, checking fences and ensuring the animals were safe. As he walked back to the house, he thought about Kaya and how quickly she had become part of the ranch. He admired her courage, her curiosity, and the quiet strength she had shown since arriving. He knew that their time together was just beginning, and that there were many challenges and joys ahead. Bursts. As Kaya drifted to sleep that night, she felt a sense of gratitude and hope. She knew that life was not without its difficulties, but for the first time she felt capable of facing them. She had found safety, friendship, and a chance to start over. A chance that she would not take for granted. The next morning, the ranch was alive with light and movement. Kaya woke to the gentle sounds of the wind rustling through the trees and the soft clucking of the chickens. The air smelled fresh, earthy, and full of promise. She stretched and felt a new sense of energy, the kind that comes from feeling safe and valued. She had spent several days at the ranch now, learning, helping, and adjusting to a rhythm that was foreign yet comforting. She stepped outside and saw Daniel already at work, tending to the animals. He waved at her, his smile warm and easy. Kaya waved back, feeling a sense of anticipation. But today, Daniel had said they would work on something important together, the old orchard behind the barn, which had been neglected for years. It was a big task, and Kaya was eager to help. They walked to the orchard together, and Daniel explained the plan. This orchard used to be full of fruit, he said. It's been years since anyone took care of it properly. If we work together, we can bring it back to life. The trees were thin and bare in many places, and weeds had grown thick between them. The task seemed overwhelming, but Daniel's calm confidence made her feel it was possible. We'll take it one step at a time, Daniel said. The first thing is clearing the weeds and trimming the trees. Kaya rolled up her sleeves and got to work. The morning passed quickly as they worked side by side. She learned how to trim branches, pull weeds, and prepare the soil for new growth. Daniel taught her patiently, demonstrating techniques and encouraging her when she did well. They laughed together at small mistakes, like when Kaya accidentally dropped a small basket of apples or tangled herself in a hose. As they paused for lunch under the shade of a large tree, Kaya felt a sense of pride she hadn't experienced in a long time.
The orchard was already starting to look cleaner, and the hard work was satisfying. She looked at Daniel, noticing the way he moved with quiet strength and care. I never knew taking care of land could feel so rewarding, she said. Daniel smiled. It's not just the land. It's the effort, the attention, the care you give. When you invest in something, it grows and it gives back.
Kaya nodded, thinking about her own journey.
She had faced so many challenges, often feeling lost or unsure of herself. But here, on this ranch, she was learning that small efforts, persistence, and patience could create meaningful results. After lunch, they continued working. Kaya noticed how the orchard had small signs of life. Tiny green shoots emerging from the soil and buds beginning to appear on the trees. It was a visible reminder that their work mattered, and it lifted her spirits. As the afternoon sun began to dip, Daniel suggested they take a short break and walk toward the edge of the forest. Kaya agreed, curious to explore more. As they walked, they came across a narrow stream glistening in the sunlight. The water was clear, reflecting the sky and the surrounding trees. Kaya knelt by the edge, dipping her fingers into the cool water. "This is beautiful," she said quietly. "I never imagined places like this existed." Daniel sat beside her. "The world is full of beauty," he said. "Sometimes you just have to slow down to see it." Kaya looked at him, realizing that these past days had not only taught her about ranch life, but also about patience, observation, and appreciation. Desk. She felt herself changing, gaining confidence, calmness, and a sense of purpose she hadn't had before. As they walked back to the orchard, they noticed movement near the trees. A small deer had wandered close, cautiously observing them. Kaya held her breath, fascinated by its grace.
Daniel whispered, "Don't worry, it's just curious."
"We're not a threat." The deer stayed for a few moments before bounding away into the forest. Kaya exhaled slowly, feeling a mixture of awe and gratitude.
Every day here feels like a gift, she said softly.
Daniel nodded.
It's easy to forget how much life surrounds us when we're busy or worried.
But when you notice it, everything feels fuller, richer. Evening approached, and the orchard work was nearly complete for the day. The weeds were cleared, some trees were trimmed, and the soil had been prepared for planting new seedlings. Kaya looked at the orchard with satisfaction. It wasn't perfect, but it was alive with potential. She realized that the orchard mirrored her own journey. Small, careful efforts could lead to growth, and patience would bring results. As they returned to the ranch house, Daniel suggested they sit on the porch with tea. Kaya accepted, feeling the warmth of the cup in her hands and the calm evening air on her face. They watched the sun slowly sink behind the hills, casting long shadows across the fields. "You've made a big difference here," Daniel said quietly. "The orchard looks better already, and your help has been invaluable." Kaya smiled, feeling a deep sense of fulfillment. "I've learned so much in just a few days," she admitted. "I didn't realize I could do this. Take care of land, animals, and even myself."
Daniel looked at her with quiet admiration. "You've shown a lot of courage and strength," he said.
It's not just about the work. It's about your heart and your determination. That's what really matters.
Kaya felt a warmth in her chest. She realized that this connection, this trust and respect was something she had been missing for a long time. And she knew that no matter what the future held, she had grown stronger and more capable than she had ever imagined. As night fell, the ranch became quiet and peaceful. The stars shone brightly overhead, and the sounds of animals settling down created a soothing rhythm. Kaya went to her room to rest, reflecting on the events of the past week. She had faced challenges, learned new skills, and begun to trust someone again. Most importantly, she had discovered a sense of belonging. Daniel checked on her before heading to his own room. He thought about how much she had grown in such a short time, how her presence had brought energy and joy to the ranch. He realized that this unexpected encounter had changed both their lives, bringing new perspectives and a renewed sense of purpose. The next morning brought another bright sunrise, and Kaya woke with a renewed sense of hope. She dressed and went outside. eager to continue working and learning. Daniel greeted her with a smile, and together they planned the day's tasks, planting new seedlings in the orchard, checking on the animals. As the day progressed, Kaya felt a sense of harmony and balance. She had learned to work with her hands, to observe and understand the land, and to appreciate the small victories that came from effort and care. Breaths. She also realized that trust, patience, and respect were just as important as any skill or knowledge she had gained. By evening, the orchard was fully planted, and the trees stood ready to grow anew. Kaya looked at the fruits of their labor with pride, feeling a deep connection to the land and to Daniel. She realized that this place, once foreign and intimidating, had become a home, a sanctuary, and a source of strength. Daniel joined her on the porch as the sun set.
You've done something wonderful here,
he said quietly. Not just with the orchard, but with everything. You've brought life, energy, and care to this ranch. Kaya smiled, feeling a sense of gratitude and fulfillment. Thank you for giving me a chance, she said softly. I never imagined I could find a place like this, or someone who believed in me. Sometimes the right place and the right people find you when you least expect it, he said. You've worked hard, trusted, and grown. That's all anyone can ask for.
As night fell, Kaya felt a sense of peace.
She had come to the ranch, uncertain and weary. But now she was confident, hopeful, and inspired. She had found safety, friendship, and the chance to start over, a chance she would never take for granted. The stars shone brightly above, and the ranch settled into quiet rhythm. Kaya lay in bed, reflecting on the journey that had brought her here. She realized that life could change in unexpected ways, that courage and trust could open doors, and that even in the face of challenges, hope and perseverance could lead to growth and fulfillment. With these thoughts, she drifted into a deep, peaceful sleep, ready for whatever new adventures and discoveries awaited her at the ranch.